Welcome to another video, and in this video we'll be exploring visualizations. So once we explore visualizations, we then move on to one more thing, then the final thing. All right, I'll keep those things. I won't let the cat out of the bag yet, but do well to stick through the end of this particular video. By the way, let's jump into it. We'll continue with the previous file we've been working with. And this is how I saved mine. If you just also should appear under the recent down here. If you don't have it there, just go open and look for the file, look for where you saved it on your desktop or your laptop or whatever device you're using. Okay, so just click it. Just wait for that to load. A few more minutes. It says there are pending changes in your query that haven't been applied, so just show it as loaded, and then I click apply changes. We're clicking apply changes this time because we just open it and it says there are some queries that need that were applied, that has not been changed. I'm supposed to check it. I don't know what the changes are, but it should not be a problem anyway. Right. We have explored visualization techniques already. That means considering the kind of charts, graph, or visuals to use and why. So we will not be going over that again in this video, but it will be pinned to the top right, and a link will be left in the description below, so you can go back to it. Do well to go over it, watch it, so that you can understand why we use a particular visualization and why we are not using the one you probably have in mind. Oh, this is fine, this is better. No, we don't use charts that way. Yes, and the video is on Excel, but the video is not about Excel. It's about visualization techniques generally. So it is very valid as well for what we're doing in Power BI right here. So let's say we have some questions, and of course that is why we want to simplify things. The end goal is to build a dashboard, right? But say we have some questions first that we want to answer. Very important questions like, okay, want to see how things transpired in a particular place, region, based on our data, of course, based on our data. And some of the questions we can answer using SQL. We also can answer using Power BI, but visually. Instead of writing queries, running them, and just seeing the table results. In this case, we will do more than writing queries. We'll be seeing the actual visualizations. All right, so let's just jump into it. We'll start by simple questions, we'll answer them, and then we'll move. I mean, so far we have not put in any charts here. We've just been staring at a blank canvas entirely. But right now, it is time to build something, okay? And don't forget, this is your data pane, your visualization pane, your filter pane. This is your blank canvas, tax bar at the bottom, your views, and the ribbons at the top, right? So let's jump into it. But before we jump in, as usual, you don't just pick a chart. What questions do businesses have in mind? This is where your skill lies. It's not just about the data. It's not just about picking things and doing things. Okay. So we have to come up with a question. Let's think about a question first. Then we now see how we can use Power BI to answer that question. So let's go back to our table view first. Just wait for the data to load up. All right, there it is. So we have the ID, the name, the segment, the age, the city, the state, the region. As usual, let's just do something simple first. We have the region, nice. We have the product name and all. Right, we also have sales, profits, and every other thing. Our processing data and sales channel. And I know what you're probably thinking. It's possible you'll be thinking, okay, when we did it in the Power Query, we moved it. Yes, I know, and I know we moved it, but this is where we have it in our data model. Well, it's just how Power BI does its thing. What happens in Power Query is not completely how you see it right here. And of course, when you create new stuffs, maybe a new column using DAX in this particular view, it goes all the way to the end as well. So we just mentioned that we have region in the customer table, and we have sales channel, profits, and all of those things here. So let's just start with something small. We want to see the region that generates the most revenue. Right? I want to see the region that generates the highest revenue. That means we really want to compare all the regions and how they generate revenue. Okay, and probably later we also want to see the regions by the numbers of customers, right? So let's go back to view and answer the question. And this is how you think. Okay, you have a question. The first thing is, can the data answer the question? If yes, the next thing is, based on the question, what visual tells the best story? Once you figure that out, the next thing is, what fields in terms in the same as columns now, what fields can I use in answering this question? Are the fields available already? If the fields are not available, can I create them? That will be feature engineering, of course, creating new columns from existing ones to add more value to your data. So can I create them? If they're available, okay, then I know the visuals to use. I think that is all I need to do. Okay, so let's see how we can answer that question. And we'll just pick, let's say, a bar chart. Let's just pick a bar chart for now. And then, by picking a particular chart, the options we have here change. This is very important and you must take note of it. Based on the chart. Now, let me delete this. And see what we have here. It just says add data field. All right. Add data field here. That's all. Then we have the drill through. We have the cross reports. We have keep all filters, and we have add drill through fields here. Okay. So if I expand this, I have my region. Okay. So it is important again to know that whatever you see here is contextual. If I click on this chart, for example, it changes. Let's click on another chart. A little bit change, mostly the same. Let's click on this. A little change again. Let's click on this. Mostly the same. Let's go to pie charts. You can see it's something else entirely. It's different. Okay. So for this case, or for this course, we will just explore a few charts and see how to use them. Okay. Now, let me delete it. How should you start using the charts? That's the way of getting a chart. You can let Power BI decide for you, or you can decide what chart is best. If you want Power BI to decide for you, just read what you have here. It says build visuals with your data. Select, that's to check the box, or drag fields from the data pane onto the report canvas. Do not forget we're in the report view. So this is a report canvas. It says we should just check a box. That means we're selecting it, or we drag it onto this place. Let's start with region. Let's say I want to check. I'll just select and boom. Wait, pay attention. It's loading. If you look at this, see the little icon loading there. So wait for it. Let's see what it has to do. All right, and the regions have appeared. Now we make this bigger. Yeah, we can drag it, but the text itself is not big enough yet. So let's just adjust it. Something small. Just keep it that way. Let's bring it to the center of the board. You can see how nicely it shows us those grid lines, snaps to grid and all of that. Very cool. So this is what we have. I know it's small. Okay, so I'll zoom in for you. Okay, so I've zoomed in. Now this is what we have. So the next thing is, let's say I want to pick customer name, for example. I check customer name, and you can see it's just showing me a table of these people. And this is probably not what I want in the first place. So most times it will not really give you the feel of what you want. What can I do then? I can then go ahead and click on a chart. Okay, so somehow it finds a way to convert it to something meaningful. It doesn't mean to always do it right, because obviously now we're seeing region here, we're seeing customers here, and we don't even know what to do with this. So most times it's good to understand these fields right here. It is very important and good to understand them. So I'll delete this first method. So I'll zoom out again. Second method is to what? Drag. So let me drag. You can see, how do you drag? You left click and you slide. You hold the left click, hold it, then slide all the way onto the canvas. Just drop it there. It's the same as what we have before. Okay, so if you repeat the process, you get the same results. So let's take it out. So what's the best choice then? Should we try picking the chart first? Let's see that. Let's say I know, okay, I want to use this chart. This is what I want to use. Then I check region. Then I check, let's say, customer name. Literally the same thing as dragging it, right? Just literally the same as dragging it. So in this case, it becomes very important. Now, unlike Excel, where you select a particular data and you can select the chart directly, that is not so like it in Power BI. So this will force you, not necessarily force you, but this will make you understand these fields, and it's very important because it gives you the flexibility to tailor a chart to adjust things to the way you want it to be. Okay, all right, so I'll just take this out. Back to our question, what do we want to do? We want to get the revenue by region. The first thing, since I know the chart I want to use, let's just pick it. We can use a column chart, we can use a bar chart. So pick this, I'll drag it to the middle, just keep it somewhere here. How do you drag? Left click and move your hand anywhere, just like that. Okay. If you want to delete it, just click on the chart and hit delete on your keyboard. Okay, just like that. Just like that. So now that we have a skeleton, and the next thing for us to do is what? Understand these fields. Since we picked an horizontal bar, okay, we'll need fields in x-axis and y-axis first, then x-axis. Now, if this were to be a column chart, let me click out. Okay, let me bring it up. Okay, so if this were to be a column chart, you can see we have x-axis first and then y-axis. But for this, we have y-axis first, then x-axis. Okay, it's not confusing. Okay, it's just that it was switched. In this case, you want your qualitative data. So at this point, let me do a quick recap on qualitative and quantitative data. Qualitative data, qualitative, that's descriptive, fact, dimensions. Okay, qualitative, descriptive, dimensions. These are the data, these are the kind of data or data fields that you put in the first field right here. Again, what are examples of qualitative data, dimension data, or qualitative dimension and descriptive data? For example, names of people, the region, the email address, things that can identify a person or an entity. Things that can identify a person or an entity. Let's simplify it that way. that describes a person or an entity, right? Good. Now, it doesn't mean it has to describe alone. For example, rating, very likely, very unlikely, okay? Those can be qualitative value. Then the count, that means how many times it happens. That will now be the quantitative part of it, right? So I hope that is clear. Good. So we'll pick the qualitative part, and the qualitative part should be tailored to how we want to answer our question, right? So for region and revenue, right? So let's go back to this. Region should come into this first place, y-axis. So if I check region, by default, it jumps to the first place. Let's close this and go to sales. Let's look for sales here. So I'll scroll all the way, and now I find sales. But good for us, when we were looking at this on this table, it was giving us it was towards the end, but you can see that based on the report view, it is the way we have it. See where we have it right from Power Query. Okay, so process is there, and sales, but this is not how we ordered it. I hope you also know that this is in alphabetical order, but it's not so far to the end in this case. All right, back to what we're saying. We already picked region. I'm taking it slowly so that I can understand it. Don't feel overwhelmed. It's very simple. We have picked region. The next thing for us to pick is sales. If I check sales by default, it's loading. Okay, it's done loading, and sales automatically jumped into the next axis. Why? Because it is a quantitative value. All right, it is quantitative, and that's why we have it. And of course, this is what we are looking for: sum of sales by region. Remember, the question is total revenue by region, and the revenue is just what came in before we made any deduction, before we take out costs, tax, whatever it is. Okay, the total amount that came in. So that's sum of sales by region in this case. Very simple. And you can see now that automatically, unlike in Excel, Power BI sorts our chart for us, because it's a good practice. So this is in descending order. We have West as the top with a total revenue of 764,000. East 611,000. Central 519,000. South 403,000. Very good. So let's use this to replicate what we just did. We'll go back, go here, we'll check region, is loading. So we're good to go. Then we'll close this, we'll open this, and we check sales. All right, so the first one goes into the x-axis, the second one goes into the y-axis based on the order. The first qualitative goes into the first one, quantitative goes into the second one. All right, you can see what we have. It's still the same. West, same figure, same figure, same figure, same figure. You can see that just so clearly. All right, now that we have this, everything looks good. Let's just adjust this, drop it here, maybe drop this here as well. This should just be there for now. Let's pick another chart. Okay, now we have this chart here. We want to answer the next question: number of customers by region. And this is a little bit tricky. We'll go there, we do region first as usual, the qualitative part first. Then we want to check the number of customers. So we can either use the customer ID or the customer name. In this case, if we were to do this in SQL, we'll probably be writing they select, then you count, you select your region, that you count either a customer ID or a customer name. So in this case, we just use the customer names. And on checking that, it's not giving us what we want. Why is that? You have to understand the behavior of the data. Currently, it is a qualitative data. Customer names are qualitative. They are descriptive. So since they are descriptive, Power BI doesn't understand that they are meant to be counted. So what happened? It skipped the x-axis and jumped. Pay attention to this place. Let's zoom in. So it skipped the x-axis and jumped into legend. So let's do this. So you see, it is supposed to be here, but it jumped inside here. Hence, we are not getting what we want. So we want it to be the region, then it should plot using the count of the customer names. So what do? We have to move this field up. How do we move it? We can either take it out and drag it from this place and drop it here, or we can just left click on it and move it up. You can see, then I drop it inside there and immediately I drop it. It now shows what? Count of customer name. Why? It is a qualitative data. That is the best you can do with it, because you cannot add them up, you can't sum it up, you cannot take the average of people's name. So the best thing you could do is to count them automatically. It is intelligent enough to know that, okay, since it's qualitative, we probably want to count. And let me take you back quickly to Excel. Remember in pivot tables as well, numerical data goes into the value section of the pivot field, and qualitative data goes into the rows or the columns. But whenever we want to count qualitative data, we drag it from the row or wherever it is, we drop it inside value, and automatically Excel does a count for us. So that means we're grouping and aggregating. So it automatically aggregates numerical data when they are dropped in places like this. Just take it slowly. Once you get a good foundation or a grasp of it, Power BI is never intimidating. You can use it anytime you like, and you can, it's very fast, powerful. You can do anything you want to do with it. Okay. So now we have this. Let's pick the other one like this. Let's pick this. Jumps here. Automatically arranging itself. Very nice. Cool. This seems longer. It's okay. Now the next one won't repeat the same thing. So I'll check region. Region jumps into x-axis, and the next thing is supposed to go into y-axis, not legend, because it's not numerical by default. Checking the box will not help me, so I'll just drag it myself. So let me right click on customer ID or customer name. Let's use the same customer name we used, and drop it ourselves into where? The y-axis. And you can see, and automatically it says count. But for sales, because it is numeric, the default is sum. That's the default aggregation. But for qualitative data, default aggregation is count. All right. Just a quick one before we proceed and see how to change the aggregations. We can come here, instead of going through all these fields one after the other, we can just search for the field name. For example, sales. Right? And you can see it appears here. Or let's say product name. So this is very useful when you have a massive data where you have numbers of column, a lot of them, and all of that. So instead of you opening and checking, you can just search it, just type it, region. It comes up, and then you select it from there. Okay, very important. Now, coming back to the aggregation, we're taking this slowly first. So once you have a good foundation, I can just pick a chart, drop things, and you understand what I'm doing. So I mentioned that for numerical data, the default aggregation is a sum. But for qualitative data, the default aggregation is a count. So what if what we're trying to get is average revenue by region, or average sales by region, since that's what you can see. Average sales by region. I don't want sum of sales. So let's use this as an example. Let's drag it up. So we want to get average sales by region. Now I'll come here, region. That's a few options. I can rename it. I can remove it. I can rename it. Okay. I can move somewhere else. You can see. So when this was jumping, let's click on this guy. Come back here. Automatically, when this was inside there, right? So it's in the legend first. Let's go back there. Check it again. Customer name. You can see automatically jumped into legend. How else could we have moved it? Click on the drop down. Move to. So you can select any of this place. If I click on move to y-axis, then it jumps back up. See, you can also move it that way instead of dragging. But dragging is obviously way better and faster. All right, let's adjust this. So you can see how it's automatically snapping to this size, and it's very cool. So we don't have to do too much alignment and all. Go back here, the aggregation. So for region, you can see new group and all of that. Let's come to sales, because this is where it's performed the aggregation. The field name is sales. So the aggregation is sum. So it says sum of sales. Let's check this. The field name is customer name. The aggregation is count. So it says count of customer name. And that's how you see it. So let's go back up. You don't forget, what we want to do is to see how we can change the aggregation. For example, I want average sales, not sum, not the total sales. Let's see it. We'll click on the drop down, and immediately you click on the drop down for numerical value, you will see, or for an aggregated field, let me use that word. Okay, for an aggregated field, that means a field where an operation has been performed on. Region, nothing was done on it. It was just the way we have it. But for sales, calculation or an operation has been performed on it. In this case as well, customer name and operation has been performed on it. So it is an aggregated field. Let's go back here. Click on the sum of sales. Immediately after the first three options, you will see the list of what you can change it to. These are the aggregations. So I can select average, I can select the minimum, the maximum, the count distinct. I can select the count, standard deviation, variance, median. In fact, I can also format it in percentage, or percentage of grand total and all of that. And I can get a quick measure, but we'll talk about measures and all of those things later. So see how simple it is. For example, since we say we want to see the average sales, not the sum, I'll just select average. And that's all. Obviously, the figures have changed. If you look at it, you can see now. You can see. So that's how we change the aggregation. Let's come back here. Click on this drop down because it's aggregated. But because it is a qualitative field, we only have two options. Count or count this thing. We can't take the sum. We can't take the average and all of that. Okay. So, I can say count distinct. Of course, it won't change because customer name is distinct already on that table. But it is useful when it is not distinct on that table and we don't want it to repeat. So, it's a very good place to go. So, I'll just give it count. All right. The bar charts are quite very perfect. This seems like a lot going on, right? So just take it out. Just take them out. This and this. So let's explore another charts. Others at the top are just siblings of this, okay? Others at the top are siblings of this. They are different, no doubt. For example, if we look at clustered column, this is where we can do more. I can say, let's say region, state, or let's say segments. So segments. So as usual, region jumped into this place, segment jumped into legend. So let's go and do sales. Now, what does this mean? This means now that is why the qualitative jumped into legend. All of this is for a particular region, west. All of this is for west. All of this is for east. All of this is for central. All of this is for south. But we are seeing more than just the region or the revenue this time. Let's switch to the horizontal one. All right, so just like this. But the difference is blue is representing a segment, the deep blue is representing, leave the colors. The deep blue is representing another segment, and the corporate, and the orange is representing another segment. So we are seeing two things at a go in this case. So I think this looks more better. Yeah, more better. And this is what we have. Okay. So like I said, all of this at the top are just siblings of others. So let's move on. The next thing is a line chart. Let's pick it. Now, you see what just happened? And this is a common beginner mistake. I just want to pick another chart. I did not plan to change this one. But what happened? It changed my chart. What can I do? Two ways. Undo, Control Z, goes back. Let's click it again. Or just click on the chart you used before. This. We have this version, just so you know. So we'll click it back and then it's back. What do I do then if I don't want it to change? Context is important. Make sure you click on a blank place in your canvas. Just click on any blank part of your canvas. Click out. And when you click out, you notice that nothing is selected. See? It's only when I take my mouse that you see that box, and it has an highlight. It's highlighting that this is what you're clicking at the moment, or this is what you're hovering on. Okay. But if I select one in particular, see, and I take my cursor out of that place, you can see that it is currently selected. If I click this and I take my mouse out, you can see it is currently selected. If I click on this and I take my mouse out, you can see it's still currently selected. But if I click out and my mouse is not on any, none is selected. So it is very important. Make sure you click on a blank canvas before you select a visual. All right. So pick a line chart now, and the skeleton appears. All right. What can we probably want to see since we have picked the line chart? Obviously, it has to be trend over time. So let's say we want to see how our sales has been doing since we started. I want to see how sales have been doing since we started. How do we answer that question? We'll go to the sales table. The closest thing we have is order dates. So we can use the order dates. Now look at the fields here. It just says values. I just dump them here. It's going to handle them. But see, that's not true. Now that I click this, it's now showing the fields on this place. If I click out, if I click again, so I'm selecting this currently, and I can just go and say order dates, and that jumps into the x-axis. And then if I scroll down a bit and I check sales, that automatically jumps into y-axis without stress and hassle. And yes, you can see I now have it every year, the sales trend. 2022 or 2019, we did 165. Then 2020 we did 458. Is that 458? 485. Then we did 638. Then we did 462. All right. And yes, it's possible you might want to say, okay, what if we want to break it down to months, to year? And of course, unlike Excel, we can't see the plus and minus button here. But if you look at it, it created something we call an hierarchy for us. So there's an hierarchy already. We can create an hierarchy ourselves. Okay. Power BI already did it for us. And I'll show you how to create an hierarchy yourself. So I can take out the year. And now it's now showing on quarterly level. I can take out the quarter. And now this is on monthly level. That's all-time January, all-time February, across all year. Okay, very important you know that. Click that chart again. If I want it to be, of course, that looks chaotic. And all-time, the first day, second day, all across the year. This does not make sense. Okay, so I want to take it back to my usual. So if I click on order date itself, say do not group it for me, because what we did before is what it grouped it for us. But now I say I want to see every single day right from the beginning. You can see that the values of the sales are very small, right? Very, very tiny. And of course, this is looking like, oh, what is this? What kind of chart? Well, it's a line chart, but it's just that too much data have gone in there. So if I drag it and I keep dragging, it it just can't be smooth enough because there's a lot going on. Okay, that's over. Well, maybe we didn't make sales every day, but at least we still have about days where sales happened, right? Where sales happened. So if we check our count of other dates, distinct count of other dates, right? We can tell. Okay, we can tell. So in this case now, we probably don't want this. So if it appears here like this for you at the first time, what you can do is just click on this place and select date hierarchy. Order date itself does not aggregate or group the date, does not group the dates, but date hierarchy groups it for you. So I'll just click on date hierarchy and everything appears right here again. Okay, everything appears right here again. Okay, so now we have seen how to use the line chart, and just these ones right beside it, they're just siblings of it. If I click on a stacked, that's shaded one, stacked version, area chart, area chart, and the area chart version, excuse me, and then 100% stacked version. Now this is line and stacked, and what do we call this in Excel? Combo, right? Let's go back to this, stick to the line chart. So we have a combo chart. So what can we want to see with combo? Let's pick it. Let's pick a combo chart. Let's pick this. All right. Okay, since it's at the bottom, let's just leave it there. Let's say we want to see the region again for now. I want to see the sales and profits. I want to see if we get more profit by sales. So currently, this is not giving me, it's giving me a stacked version, right? Which is simple. The two of them jumped into the same axis, but we have the line axis separately. The line axis separately. So what can I do? Click on the drop down, move to, and I say line axis, or I can just drag it myself, right? And boom, you can see. So based on the region, the profit aligns with the revenue. So West has the highest revenue because the line is the revenue. The line is the profit. So the bar is the revenue. So West has the highest revenue and they also have the highest profits. Followed by East, more revenue. So the more the revenue, the more the profit. All the way down to these guys, which is really something to look into, right? So this is what we have from them. Okay. So we're just looking at all the charts and exploring the options we have here so as to know how to use them properly. Of course, we still have more things like tooltip and multiples, small multiples, where you can show you in. For example, I want to pick the order dates and I drop it in small multiples. So what that is meant to do is that it's going to split it into 4 different years. I will expand it so you can see what I'm saying. So you can see, of course, it's not looking so good. So 4 different years. So for the first year, the regions, and see what we have. See what we have. Now let's see what happened. So region is on the x-axis. Sum of sales here, just like we want it, and this is what we have. So of course it's very useful, but in this case it's not like what we want. So we'll take that out for now. Take it out. All right. Let's pick the next chart, and this is a ribbon chart. Ribbon chart is a combination of a bar chart and not necessarily a line chart, but it is a combination of a bar chart and a flow chart, or the same thing as as a line chart, but it does it in a very unique way. It does it in a very unique way, which makes it so cool and powerful. All right, so let's see what we can do with it. um let's just convert this particular one to the flow chart, and you can see we have the profits, we have the region, we have the sales. The light blue is the sales, and the dark blue is the profit. Okay, so we can see how it goes. Let's pick on this. Let's just move on to a few charts that we'll be using majorly, and of course we have a waterfall chart here. Seem easy to explore, just have it the way you want it. Funnel charts, very useful as well. So what other basic one we will be using? Of course, scatter plot is very important as well. We can use it. For example, we can say we want to see correlation between sales and profit. Do we have more sales when we have more profits, or we want to see correlation between discount and profits? When we give out more discount, do we get more sales? But the question is, let's just take a look at that. Let's say discount. Where's discount? Okay, discount and profit. And you can see what we have here. Just one dot. Right, just one dot. And you probably be wondering why it's not like the way we have it in Excel and all of that. Maybe a separate video will be dedicated to that, and then we'll explore it. Okay, but just play around with all the charts we have. Pick the one you want to use, but the most important thing that you pay attention to what is going on here. So let's look at this again, and let's pick a pie chart this time. And of course, for a pie chart, we want to just do the same revenue and profit thing. Now, revenue and profit this time, not sales. Profit. All right. So we can see that, okay, for individual region, this is what we have. For individual region, this is the contribution of their profit, with West, is this West? Yeah, West having the largest, 34, that's 34%, followed by East, 32, followed by Central, 22, and followed by South, 10%, right? You can see the value and the percentage right there. What other chart should we pick? Let's duplicate this. How do we duplicate? You can copy visual, or your Control C, Control V, and it paste on top. So I'll just drag it up and change it to a pie chart instead. So see, basically the same, just with a hole in the middle. All right, what other chart do we have? This is getting becoming too much, so let's take this out. Let's take this out. Bring this up here. All right. So what other important one do we have? Let's look at the tree map. Very powerful visual as well. Very powerful visual as well. Now, this is very good for hierarchical data. So, for example, we want to see the profit or sales or revenue by a particular region. Or let's go with the product. In the products table, we have the category, we have the subcategory. So, we want to see it by category and subcategory. We have other charts we can use to do it, but they won't really do justice or give us the best visual, tell the best story for us. So this will be a good one to use. So I'll pick category, pick subcategory. You can see category, category, details, subcategory. Then we want values, the actual values. Let's just pick profit, and boom, there we go. So you can see what this looks like now. So all of this orange highlights a particular category, right? Technology. all the blue represents office supply, and this thin one here represents furniture. So at a quick glance or in a single view, we can tell which one has more. So look at the space technology is taking. We'll probably say, oh, I think technology is doing more. Let's find out. Let's pick a random bar chart, expand our data, just select category and then profit. Select profit. All right, and you can see that technology is topping the chart. So obviously we can see that from here as well. Then followed by this, then followed by this guy. And now it doesn't just give us that view alone. We can also tell by the subcategory as well. You can now look at the subcategory within a category. You can see how Treemaps are good for hierarchical data visualization. So yeah, you might want to really do things like that. So it's a good thing to look at. So we have maps. Maps are very cool and easy to use, by the way. I will not be using map in this for now. We have gate charts, very, very cool. Gate chart is when you have a target, you have a milestone, a target, something like that, and you have a particular thing you're doing. You want to see how far from the target, or how short, or how more above the target you've gone. So just feel free to explore. What I think is important to us, basic charts now, is probably the card. Now pick the card. Oops. Again, I didn't this, so let me just take this out completely. So I want to pick a card. And what is a card? A card is where we simply put for KPIs, total sum, total profit, number of customers, all those things. So let's just do it quickly. Let's expand data. Profit, just check profit, and it gives us the sum of profits straight away. I can adjust that to the top, do it this way. Again, I can copy and paste. Now, whenever you copy and paste, always make sure you clear it out. Clear everything there. So in this case, we want to pick revenue. This is the revenue. Paste again. Bring this down. Uncheck. That's one way, just like your pivots table. And uncheck a field or clear it out or drag it out. So we'll profit of seen sales. Let's see, we just want to see total number of customers as well. And I'll just check customer name. Now, this is another good case study. By clicking on customer name, it jumped into categories, but that's not what we want. So what do we want to do? We want to move it up to value. It has jumped to value. Now, because this is meant to be a KPI, what it did for us is it picked minimum. And that's the first customer name that you find in that data. But that's not what we want. It aggregated it, but with a minimum value. So what do we do? As usual, click on the drop down. You can see we can pick the first, the last, count these things and count. Right? So we want a count. And it says 793 what? Customers. Let's expand so it shows completely. So this. Just so fast. And basically we have seen the important charts that we have here. Right? When we need a map, we'll go back to it later. And we have seen how to use all of these charts. Just here, right? Just right here. And let's expand this a little. All right. The last thing we want to look at is our slicer. And yes, we have a slicer as well in Power BI. We have KPI, very important as well. Let's pick a slicer. All right. So this is our slicer. And still want to use our slicer for states. It's going to be a long one, but I want to use something short, segment. We just have 3 segments. You can see we have our 3 segments right there. We are not arranging yet. We're just picking charts, seeing how to use them. So immediately I check the field, it's showing here. So if I click on this, can see all my chat is filtered. So everything I'm seeing now is about the consumer segment. If I click on this again, corporate segment. If I click on this, home office segment, and I'll clear it. Look at the eraser button right here. It says clear selection. I'll click on it and everything goes back to normal. And yes, this is where we'll stop for this particular video. In the next video, we'll now look at how to format the chart. Of course, we have not formatted the chart, so how to format it, what other some other important options to explore, right? Important options to explore, how to rename all these titles and all, make it look good, look nice, and more. Okay, that's what we'll be doing in the next video. Then we'll do the other things, but I'll not let the bag out of the cat just yet. Okay, see you in the next one.